Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Marky and Freeze, and this is an emergency episode 160 of the John 1911 podcast. How's it going, Freeze? Are you and yours getting ready to have a big Super Bowl day at the house, or whatever you guys do on Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah. I can't say I'm super thrilled about it because, me and football, I just don't give a crap about football, but everyone else does, and it's the Super Bowl. And honestly, it's the one time a year I'll actually watch a football game.
Okay, so
And,
yeah, I
and it's
figured
not,
your family you would be doing something.
yeah, exactly. And will I watch the game? No, I'll socialize because I just don't care,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
And
I was talking to a woman a day or two ago. She's from Chile, not Chile, but Chile. She says it, and
Chile.
she's trying to make small talk with the American, and she's like, "Are you excited about the Super Bowl?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not. I don't really watch like foot or those kind of sports. I didn't really get into it. Like, I didn't want to say something like I don't watch a sport unless it goes bang or bleeds. I didn't figure that would be appropriate. So I was like, yeah, it's not really my thing and all that. And then she's like, well, I got to be honest with you. She goes, I don't even know what happens on a football field, but I do know there's a halftime show. And I was like, you know what? I will probably see the highlights from the halftime show myself. So I understand.
I'll tell you, I'll see the highlights from it. Will I watch it? It'll be on the TV, but no, I probably won't watch it.
Yeah.
Um,
So
you know, I'll tell you what, the only halftime show that I've ever seen that's ever impressed me was when Prince did the halftime show.
really, I'm just so surprised you would say the word like and Prince in the same sentence.
No, I like Prince. I think Prince was brilliant. He's a
Really?
hell of a
You like
guitarist.
Prince? I mean, I love Prince, but I never would have thought you liked Prince.
Oh no, I have a very wide range of music, and I think Prince is probably one of the most underrated guitarists around. And plus his talent in writing music, it was just phenomenal. I mean,
He was
there's
a
a
very
lot.
talented dude. Yeah.
Oh yeah, super
He's
talented.
dead now, in case you forgot. So,
No, I
um,
didn't forget. Unfortunately,
so
the monkey got him.
the monkey got him. Yeah. So, well, I guess of this, really prepare, but I sent you a message, and some of the if you people that follow social media have definitely been seeing it. I've been messing with 1911s pretty hard the past like 4
Yeah.
days,
Hmm.
and so today is Super Bowl Sunday, and I sent you a message last night. I was like, I'm thinking about switching to a 1911 for my carry gun, and I don't know if you were totally thrilled with that
Uh,
message.
no,
So,
look. Um, here's my thing. I love 1911s. I think you love 1911s. That's what we both cut our teeth on, and that's fine. But I want to say this without pissing off the
just say
1911
it.
people. But look, is a 1911 the best gun to carry for self defense in this day and age? Is what I'm saying. Is it
No,
effective? Sure,
no,
but
no,
but
no.
honestly, uh, look, I carry a 1911 on occasion. My Sig 1911 is one of my rotation guns, but I don't carry it a lot, and I don't carry it often for self defense. Um, you know,
Yeah. Well, let me just go ahead and say this. I personally do not believe in rotating carry guns. Like, that's why I'm not a big, I don't personally, I don't do
yeah,
that. So, like, as far as a carry gun, it's like, all the time.
yeah.
So,
No,
I mean, it's okay to play and have other guns. So
Yeah, no, I mean, I get your philosophy on it, and even though we don't practice the same, philosophy or method of carry, I mean, I understand where you are, but I carry for the situation and environment and what I'm wearing and stuff. So, I don't
sure.
necessarily believe in carrying. Well, I don't want to say I don't necessarily believe. I mean, I get carrying the same gun all the time in the same position, and that is I get that. I just don't follow that. But if any, but
So so let's move this forward. So let's talk about how we got to. Okay, let's talk about. So so you don't think? I mean, we both agree that it's not the best gun to
yeah.
carry. What you have any other statements or observations you want to make before I turn the page on this?
Well, the one thing I will say, if you decide to carry the 9mm 1911 is your full time carry gun, and you better run the dog shit out of that gun to make sure it's flawless.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's we're not. It's not even. It's not ready to be carried. It hasn't proven itself. So let's talk about a little bit of kind of where I'm at with this. I guess the first thing is, I did carry a 1911 professionally for
Yeah.
12 years, and I shot them and was into them even
Oh
longer than
yeah.
that. But like every day, like I have held people at gunpoint with a 1911. I have hit people. I guess you call it pistol whipped with a 1911. I mean, it is not. It is that is no joke. I mean, it's not a, it's a thing. And part of the reason why I did it was one, back then we didn't have a whole lot of surreptitious holster options, and so I had to carry deep concealed, and all those safeties on a 1911 enabled me to get away with some pretty crazy bullshit as far as hiding guns from people. Because if I got caught with a gun or people saw a gun, in particular, in certain situations, in certain groups, they would see a gun, especially like if they saw like this big ass holster. It's like they're like all freaked out because they think I'm a narc, or they think I'm a cop, or they think,
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't want to get into all the details, but I've been around. Trust me, I've been around that racetrack more than most people. So I'm super comfortable with the thumb safety on a 1911. I mean, it's my
Mm-hmm.
wheelhouse. I even recognize if I do this, I have to constantly work on that safety. I got to make sure that I'm doing it. And I have been messing with it. So here's kind of like the universe of where I've been at. So some of the SWAT guys have been showing up with this gun called it's made by STI, and so it's basically a 2011. So it's a double stack 9mm
Yeah.
1911, and the one that a couple of them are running is this Staccato P, I think it is, and I don't know one from the other. Basically,
Yeah.
it's a 9mm 1911 that holds. Dude, I think this thing holds 20. I think, I mean, it's not 21 rounds. I think it's 24 or 26 rounds.
That's high
This
capacity,
thing
but you're
is a,
but you're paying for that capacity big time.
yeah. And, I have zero experience with 2011s. Like, and I've also, to me, they've seemed kind of like race guns,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know how to feel. I'm not in a position to judge a
Yeah. Well,
20.
that's where STI,
So, so
got their start. Building competition going.
yeah. Yeah. So, but the thing is, I don't want to, I'm not making a statement either way. That's me. It's like me talking about how to work on a Ferrari. I don't know dick about fucking how to work on a Ferrari. I don't know dick about how good an STI gun
Yeah.
is. However, so, you know, that happened. And it's like, well, I've got this 9mm 1911 that I've had for over a decade that I had made by this company years
Mm-hmm.
ago and hardly ever shot it because I had moved on. By the time I got it, we kind of had to switch over from 1911s. I went to more modern polymer guns and went through like an FNS gun, went through some Glocks, then ended up with the VP9. And apparently I forgot this. I had to look. I think I've been carrying a VP9 for about 4 years. And you
Yeah.
know, look, in all fairness to H&K, I'm not being a dick. And that gun is fantastic. It's got a nice trigger on it. It's truly the only truly satisfactory ambi controlled gun out there. And I know, like, you know, like you'll see like the FNS or the 509 that has a cross bolt type of mag release, so it's on both left and
Uh-huh.
right. The problem with that design is in holsters and wrestling around and rolling around in a pig pile, those things get compressed and the fucking mag falls out of the gun. It happens all the time. And even FN recognizes it. When you look at the FNS and then they went to the 509, you'll notice they made that super small. They lowered that profile big time. So, you know, so my point is I like the VP9. It's a great gun. I'm still going to shoot the gun. I'm still do some stuff with it. I mean, I'm carrying it now because I'm not carrying a
Yeah.
1911. But, you know, the VP9 has been a fucking battle. And,
Yeah, it has.
you know, it's been a goddamn battle because the reality is it's not a Glock. So getting holsters for it is a fuck. Getting fucking magazines for it that work is a fuck. Getting a goddamn magwell for it to work is a fuck. And I'm just tired of getting fucked. And so here's the latest thing that happened. This keeper's concealment holster that I'm wearing it now. It broke. It's got a crack in it. And because I'm hard on shit. And so I reached out to keepers, the people, not Spencer himself. And they told me that they said they offered to replace it. And I was like, well, they actually reached out to me. I just published it. They reached out to us. I didn't reach out to them because I didn't shit on them. They offered to replace it. And I was like, well, let me just think about that for a minute because it's the second. This will be the third holster they've sent because I've broken 2 of these things.
Yeah.
Now. And it's like, you know, it's $160, $170 holster. They're saying, they told me that, well, you've had that holster 4 years, and 4 years is pretty good as far as like an everyday carry holster before it fails. And then what I was thinking, I haven't looked at the records. I think they're mistaken. I think they're looking at the records for the first holster.
Oh, they are.
Where I think this holster is, I think I broke this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'm just like, this gun is big. It's got the big old magwell on it. I mean, I'm glad they're coming out with the 17 round magazines, which with a mag pad on it, you know, like a +2, +3. I mean, you're at 20, you know, I mean, you're 18, 20. We'll see how it is. And, you know, so, I mean, it's a great gun. I'll still shoot it. But getting back to the 9mm 1911, I was like, well, fuck, I don't really have a holster that works. And now I'm looking around. I need a fucking carry gun, like, you know, because it's going to take weeks, couple weeks to multiple weeks to get. Oh, here's another one. Safariland. I've ordered a VP9 holster from Safariland. That was 4 or 5 weeks ago. And I'm still waiting. And it might be months before that fucker comes in. Whereas a lot of companies, if you do a Glock or you do a 1911, they quick ship those because they
have them made up. Yeah.
So they have them made up, and that's the economy of the market. You just can't deny that. So now I'm scrambling. I'm like, well, I had some time. I got the magwell on that 9mm 1911 because I wanted to have kind of a 1911 to run with the SWAT guys, and got that on. Got the Sears spring replaced because I broke it trying to change the magwell, which is retarded. My fault. And I'm just playing with that like Thursday night. I am playing with that gun, just loading it dry and sitting at the cleaning bench. I'm like, fuck me, dude. This is so awesome. I'm reloading that gun better after not really even trying hard in like 2 minutes than some of my best reloads with a VP9 with the current magwell design on it. Because you and I have talked about this. The VP9 magwell, it's decent. The first one, the cock ring one was fake. The second one I have now is decent, but they don't compare to like the Glock magwells. I saw a factory 320 magwell at a gun store that was like, this thing was dynamite.
Yeah.
It was JJ from Good Times Dynamite. I'm like, this is, and it's again, it's like one of those things. It's like, fuck me, I'm just like sitting here like, fuck. So I'm playing with this gun. I enjoy it. Now there's a trend at SHOT Show with everybody starting to come out with these all steel framed versions of polymer guns. Like there's a full steel version of the PP guns, the CZ guns, high capacity 9mm guns. They're all metal, aluminum, and steel. They're making all steel ones. 18, 19, 20 bullets. You got the Glock guys. They're doing the rolling specials with these compensators, and all the reality is I personally believe the rolling special and the Glock 34 and 35 and these all steel guns. The reason people do this, even if they don't admit it, it's because the extra weight on a 9mm gun, the thing doesn't hardly recoil. It just, once you get that gun up, it's a bullet hose. And I'm like, I got an all steel 9mm gun in the Armory I never shoot.
Yeah.
I'm a performance-based shooter. I'm retired. My chances of getting attacked or in a gunfight are so small now, especially relative to what I used to have to deal with. Reality, dude, I could get away with a 5-shot J-frame snub nose as much as I hate those.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like dry firing this 1911. I like shooting drills with the 1911. I like practicing hot with the 1911. I like practicing cold with the 1911. Especially 9mm, I just feel like I'm cheating.
Well, now, it's been a long time since I've even seen that gun. That thing's been packed away for years. But is that a double stack magazine?
No, it's a single stack.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It wasn't. I couldn't remember.
Well, apparently they've upgraded the magazines. 9mm 1911s are real popular now. And Wilson has redesigned them 2 or 3 times, and they've got a design out now. I don't have one that I think holds 10 rounds, and they're supposedly super reliable. Like they have a built-in little feed ramp in them, and they come up. The bullet comes almost. It looks like it almost comes, kind of straight into the chamber. It's more straight.
Okay.
And, it's like 10 plus 1 isn't great, but 10 plus 1 isn't that far from 15 plus 1. It's not, you know what I mean?
Well, you've been fighting for a year and a half to get 2 extra rounds of the VP9, and now you're going backwards on round carry.
I can't deny it. I can't deny it. I've got tons of holster options for the 1911 right now. And like right now, I don't have a lot of great holster options for this VP9. I've got tons of holster options for a Glock. Here's the thing. And this is how bad this is right now. This is so fucked up with this VP9 that if I do not get to the point that I feel good, quote, certifying carrying the 9mm 1911, and I need to carry a high-capacity gun because I can't switch, I'm going to have to switch to a Glock because I don't have any fucking holsters, like appendix holsters. Like, it's crazy how out of control this is. And, I'm like, fuck. But now I have a wild card for you, though, that you don't even know.
Okay.
I did some looking. Well, and there's a couple other things, too, because I've been talking to a machine shop about having them cut my slide for a red dot because I'd like to maybe start playing with the Trigicon SRO red dots, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, maybe finally that could be a red dot that at least I could practice with and get used to because we're still going to start seeing them on the range. The SWAT guys are starting to run them. And, that's the future. It's like, well, maybe I'll play with one. And I'm getting older, I'm needing glasses. I can see my sights, but I'm sure there'll come a day when I can.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's like, am I going to put money into the VP9 right now? And I'm like, I don't know. So I did some looking. I'm like, okay, this is the gun I've got. This Ed Brown 9mm single stack gun with 3 cheap ass fucking magazines that don't even work right. And, it's like, well, I've got it. I just buy some mags and it's, shoot it and get used to it because I'm not spending any money. But it's like, I wonder, maybe look at one of these 2011 type guns. So like the staccato, there's a bunch of them. There's a couple, I don't know, staccato guns and all that. And that, they don't really appeal to me. But I did find a gun that looks super interesting. And you and I talked about this years ago, a precursor to this gun. But we let it go. And apparently Wilson had issues with it and they re-rolled it and came out with an updated model, just like how FN went from FNS9 to 509. Do you remember when we talked about Wilson Combat's Spec Ops 9 9mm 1911? Do you remember that gun?
Vaguely.
We talked about it on
I vaguely. I mean, honestly, I remember that. I remember the name, but no, I couldn't tell you anything about it.
So here's the deal. That gun is basically the size of a Glock 19, which is a smart move because the Glock 19 is the standard that most people judge carry guns. Yeah. It holds 15 rounds, 15 plus 1. It's a double stack. But apparently the way they've done it, they had changed the internal dimensions with how the grips work. It doesn't take standard grips, 1911 grips. What they did is they beefed out the frame, got rid of the grip bushings, and thinned the grips. And so supposedly it's really no wider than a standard 1911 with regular big old fat grips on it. But it's a 15 plus 1 gun. Well, they had some trouble with the gun. I think the number one issue they had trouble with it was filling orders. And I think they maybe had some reliability issues. I'm not certain because you could never find them. Like I wanted to see one in a gun store and just like, oh, this is interesting. But also a Glock 19 is too fucking small for my hand. Well, it turns out they have now, a couple years ago, they had re-released. They made a bunch of changes to the gun, and it's called the Wilson Combat the EDC. They have their EDC line of guns. Most of them are single stack, but they've got one called the X9, which is a 15 rounds double stack 9mm like a Glock 19.
Okay.
And I don't, but what they did, they admitted they had some issues. The EDC X9 is a 4-inch barrel, not a 4 1/4. So it's got a bull barrel on it because in 1911s you gotta change that because the bushings get below 4 1/4 on a bushing gun, you have reliability issues. They also, what they did, the lugs on the barrel of a 1911, they since it's a 9mm, they got rid of those lugs on the barrel and they just, how like the VP9 does it and the Glock does it. All these modern 9mm handguns do it. The only locking lug on most modern polymer pistols is the squared off surface between the front of the chamber hood and the back and the rear of the slide of the ejection wound. That's your locking surface on modern guns. Well, they eliminated all the locking lugs and they basically made it there. And they also made some changes to the rails. They also changed some internal issues. Like it's got a 1911 trigger, and it does not have a grip safety. It's got a thumb safety, and it's got a 1911 trigger. But kind of like how they did it, it doesn't interchange with a 1911. Like, you shoot it and run it. It's like a
It's
1911, but internally manufacturing,
so it's
it's
more of
different.
like a Star Model B.
Probably. I mean, I think there's more differences, but they actually said the trigger group is more like a Browning BDA gun because the Browning BDA, Wilson was talking about this on the Browning BDA, like you take the back of the grip off or something, and like you can get to the internals of the gun from the back. Like somehow, like they actually use that as kind of a thing. They changed the extractor to an external extractor, but it's user serviceable, which I thought was, if you look, I won't explain it here, but it's like, okay, it's still a spec. Basically it's a Spec Ops 9 Generation 2 Glock 19 size gun. I'm like, it's still too fucking small for me, and it's going to be like $3,000.
Yeah.
Well. They have come out with a 5-inch model called the X9L. And the 5-inch model has a mag well put onto the frame of the gun that's machined into it. I mean, you can remove it, but they cut up into the frame. So I get more of a purchase on the gun. The 15-round magazines fit flush. You don't have to go up into the mag well to make them work the way they have the mag well cut, but they have an 18-round magazine that comes up into that and fits that mag well perfect. And I'm like, holy fucking Christ.
That's interesting.
It's
That's very
super
interesting.
Now here's the problem. I have never held one of these guns. And, this gun may be too fat for me to carry. You know what I mean? Like to grip it. Like I may pick this gun up and be like, oh, this fucking sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, this gun, so they sell one that comes with suppressor sights and is cut with a plate for red dot install.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
you can get it with a
That's
rail.
okay.
So
Yeah, no,
in
I mean,
theory, I could find one of these guns that holds 18+1, has a rail, so I can, if I want to do the low light, no light classes again, and want to run
yeah.
that on there, I can. It comes with suppressor sights. It comes with a red, a plate for a red dot, and I mean, it's a lot of goddamn gun. It's like, holy
Now,
shit.
now, does it have an extended barrel for a suppressor, or is that something you'd have to drop in later if you want to run a suppressor on it?
They do not have a suppressor threaded barrel that I know of. It also, the 5-inch gun uses a bushing like a regular 1911. It doesn't use a bull barrel like the short one does.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
also, and here's the thing, honestly, a suppressor on a pistol. And I did think about that. I was like, well, having options, but dude,
Well,
suppressors on pistols suck.
no, yeah,
Because you got to get a
I
pistol.
understand. No, I understand that, but I mean, if they put suppressor sights on it, I was just wondering
Yeah.
if they had the option of a longer threaded barrel for a suppressor. I mean,
They will, because they're Wilson and they want to take your money. They put suppressor sights on it, so when you put a red dot on it, if your red dot dies, you still got irons through the window. That's
gotcha.
why they do that. Everybody does it for that reason. And since it's a 5-inch gun, I personally think they're more reliable. It's got an aluminum frame, not a steel frame. And I'm watching video of some people shooting it, and it's like this thing looks like a bullet hose. I'm like, this is super fucking interesting.
No, it is interesting. I'll have to go online later and take a look at it.
So
what's the MSRP on this Wilson? About $4,000?
yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I found a company that's got the 5-inch gun with suppressor sights here's the thing. They will sell it you can get it with and without a rail, and they will actually sell it to you with a red dot on it. and it's like
Okay.
$3,600. So I could get it with an SRO ready to go. It's $3,600.
Oh, wow.
Well, the
But
SRO's
I was just
$500-$700.
yeah, I was just going to say, the red dot on it's I was going to say a $600 red dot, but so I guess that kind of makes you feel a little bit better about spending that kind of money.
Yeah. So, part of me's thinking my compact carry gun could be my single stack 9mm. My full size combat gun could be the X9L. Because I
Well,
carry big ass guns.
yeah, but then you're deviating away from not rotating your guns.
It's the same gun though.
Yeah.
No. It's the same gun, same manual arms, basically same trigger. That is not that the issue with rotating your guns is you go from like a Beretta 92 to a fucking revolver to a Glock to a 1911 to a fucking Browning high power, and that's where people get fucked because under stress. Because I've seen it in force on force houses when I used to run force on force houses. I used to see it with 1911 guys that were like 1911 guys, and they'd fucking throw up the airsoft 1911 and fucking not put the goddamn safety off and be like, oh fuck, because they're so scared because they haven't put the time in. So I don't know. I'm thinking about it, but I can't buy one of these guns sight unseen because I got to get my hand around it because it may just be retarded.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's definitely too much money to drop for a sight unseen. Going, well, if I don't really like it that much, I'll just throw it in the armory with all the other pistols. But that's too much money for that.
It is.
So
that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Well, I don't think it's a bad spot to be at. But yeah.
Well, how come last night when I texted you, your response was at one point in text, you said, "Well, wait a minute. What about all of our readers that, basically that are like that maybe they're into the VP9 because I don't know if it's info because they're into it because of me, but like maybe we should have a transition period or I was like, what? I'm going to be honest with you. I looked at that fucking goddamn text message and I was like, what the fuck?
Well, look, the thing is, you've invested so much time, effort, and energy into making the VP9, I don't want to say better, but more conducive to your needs. Where, look, the standard VP9 out of the box works for me. I don't have a problem with the round count, but we come at it from two different points of view, but it's just like, okay, do you want to switch to a 10-round magazine on a different platform after going through all the crap you've gone through with VP9? It was all I was saying,
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know yet. You know what? I mean,
it reminds me of the commercial where the guy pulls up and peels the magnet off the side of his truck and says, "Today we do windows." Today we're doing 9mm 1911s.
Yeah.
That's where I was coming from when I sent you the text. I mean, it's like, do you want to go from bitching about crappy magazines because you can't get the round count you want to, hey, you know what? Now we're shooting 10-round 1911s.
It's fucking, yeah. I don't know. I mean, and I've been, that's the thing. I've been angsting over that myself.
Now, with that being said, I like 1911s and, and I, like I said, I have no problem carrying one. And I don't think it's bad, and it's not like the old days. I mean, the worst though. Look, if you have to pull your gun out, it's because someone's trying to jack you at the gas station. I mean, it's not like the old days where you were working.
Yeah. I had a few run-ins at gas stations, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
So I mean, there is a certain level of nostalgia. And this is one thing that kind of caught myself, and I wasn't going to do this. I was like, I'm just going to put the magwell on this gun because I've been meaning to do it for years, and I just haven't done it. And I need to get this project done so I can pull it out and run drills so I can maybe
yeah.
keep up with the 2011 guys. And what happened was I found myself for hours dry firing and practicing reloads with that gun and just being like, this is awesome. And I don't ever feel like that when I'm practicing dry with a VP9 because I do a fair amount of dry practice. Like
Yeah.
I will do, like you get tired of it, and it's just like, I don't know, man. Like here's the thing too, even the 9 millimeter 1911, like because it's such a heavy gun and it's got a heavy slide and it's a 9 millimeter, like the recoil spring in it is like so light. Like my I don't know if you remember this, the my old work gun, my number one gun, the blued one, the
Yeah.
945.
Uh-huh.
You get on the 1911 forums, I just want to barf. But these guys they will tell you, they're like, well, a GI 1911 should have a 14 and a half pound spring in it. And then a modern one are like 16. And then they're like, well, then like some of the guys will be like 18-pound springs, and some of the companies will do 18s, especially in commanders. And then like some of these traditionalists will be like, well, if it doesn't run with a 16-pound spring, your gun's fucked up. You just compensated for something else. And I'm over here like, bitches, I run a 20-pound spring in my gun, a 20 in a 5-inch gun, a 20 because I can fucking shoot this thing for thousands of rounds. As long as I keep it wet, it doesn't fucking choke because
Yeah.
you fuckers don't shoot. But after
Yeah.
years of like, I still, if I pick up or work the 45 1911s, I'm running a 20-pound spring or even an 18. I don't know
Mhm.
what the spring is in this 9 millimeter, but dude, it feels like cheating. It's just like, oh my God. I mean, I feel like I could fucking rack this thing with my lips. I mean, I could just literally, I could gum it and be like in my mouth. It's like, this is crazy.
Huh. I wonder what.
Maybe,
I
yeah.
wonder what spring they're running in that.
I'll bet you it's like a 12. I don't know. I literally have no idea. If I were to guess, I'm guessing a 12, maybe a 14.
Yeah.
It's probably I would guess a 12. Um,
Nice. Yeah, because
so
I mean, I
I don't
run
know.
springs as well.
Well, here's something else that even I was fucking with this gun because it's like it's got these adjustable. It's got Bomar style. They're really made by Kang's Gunworks, but
Yeah.
Champion. Um,
Yeah.
Bomar style target sights, but they have night sights in them. Not, and of course the nodules are dead. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, this thing's going to tear my hands up. It's got fucking target sights on it. Well, here's the thing: working it dry, I didn't realize it until I was working it. These target sights have been dehorned. They're not like they don't have sharp edges like some of you. Like, don't you have a Dan Wesson that has like a big target
Yeah.
sight on it or
It's
something?
got,
Yeah,
got champion target sights on it, which are Bomar style, and they're brutal. I mean, they're fucking
yeah.
brutal.
We're
I
gonna
mean,
have to look at these two. Compare. Look at the pictures on the website, dude. My sights are not. They're not. I can fucking palm it and it doesn't cut my hand. I mean, I don't know if I want to drag the pads of my fingers across that rear blade, but that's not where I'm wanting to grab anyway.
yeah.
And here's another thing: this 9 millimeter 1911 compared to the other Ed Brown 45s. And
Yeah.
I forgot about this because a guy told me this who was a 1911 armorer. He now works for Glock. But Ed Brown, this gun, I guess I don't know if I don't know what the deal is, why, but this gun has it has a different slide stop on it. It's got a slide stop from a company called EGW, and it's got more
I,
of a paddle.
I'm familiar with EGW. They make a
Yeah,
lot of accessories
yeah,
for
they're pretty well known. But
Yeah.
they I guess Ed Brown did not want to make a slide stop, So they bought them from EGW, and this thing has more of a paddle on it. So even when I'm working this with my thumb, whether I'm doing support thumb or breaking my hand and, hitting it with the with my firing hand, oh my God, it feels like cheating. It's just like, this is crazy. I mean, like, everything about this gun, I'm just like, ooh, this is nice. And it's retarded and it's insane. And I'm literally driving to the range now, and I'm going to see if I can't shoot some accuracy standards with it, maybe a few drills, and just see how it goes today.
Well, it's only taken you a decade to like this gun.
Yeah, I'm not. Hey, I'm a very, as you always say, I overthink things.
You do, but no, I'm looking forward to shooting it because I've never shot that gun. I don't believe.
Dude, I checked the records. It had under 400 rounds through it.
Yeah, because I mean, when you got it, you waited a long time to get that gun because, as you said earlier, at the time, no one was really making 9mm 1911s, and
Not good ones.
No, and then actually, I think by the time that came in, you were into the FNS, I believe, weren't you?
Yeah, we had switched over to the FNS because they were providing equipment to my former place of work. So, and I remember, I went from a 8-shot, 8+145 with a thumb safety and a recoil impulse that I always had to fight. They constantly have to load it like every 4 seconds or every like half second, reload, and I'm shooting against guys with like Glocks and FNs. And I remember switching to FNS, and again, it felt like cheating. And
Yeah.
because the FNS is super light, has no thumb safety, it has a decent trigger on it, has 18+1 in it, I think. It had 18 bullets in it. I'm just like, and I also, and that's a point I didn't make earlier, I kind of wonder if shooting an all steel or a heavy 9mm 1911 will make me a better polymer shooter. Because if I shoot this gun, I'm trying to throw this weight around, whether it's the single stack or if I do buy the big Wilson thing, when I do pick up the VP9 or I pick up a Glock and I'm shooting it, it's going to feel like super cheating. It kind of reminds me, like when you see the guys in baseball and they're dry swinging and they hang the donut on their bat to make the bat heavier.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real thing. And I know that's because I've experienced it multiple times in my career.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think that this could be a bonus as well.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, it sounds decent. I like the ideal of, I don't know if I like the idea of dropping $4,000 on a Wilson, but, yeah, exactly. But,
I never thought I would be thinking about buying a 1911 ever again. Just think about
I never
that.
really, I mean, because at one time, I don't know, you had what, a dozen of them?
Yeah, and I'm down to 3. I kept my work gun, I kept the backup, and then I kept this 9mm, and it was like, because I'm never going to sell the work gun because, I mean, dude, they'll bury me with that gun because that gun made me.
But
that's got so much blood and all kinds of shit on it.
That's got a lot of road mileage on it. There's no doubt about it.
Oh my God.
But
yeah, so
but yeah, I never really thought you'd be going back to the 1911 as a daily gun, but
I never really fired, and I never really played with the 9mm. I in full disclosure, someone's going to come in. I don't even know if I knew you then. I did buy a Colt 9mm government model years ago. I mean, I'm talking, God, I'm 40. What am I, 40? What am I? 40?
Okay, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not. I think I'm 47, 48. I'm not sure. But
okay.
I bought this gun, 9mm, gorgeous gun. Got a deal on it. Hardly shot. Bought it used, hardly shot. Because Colt wasn't even making them. And this thing was a fucking nightmare. I mean, it wasn't that reliable. It was like trying to run a cheese grater. And it just sucked. The gun sucked. And so I haven't messed with a 9mm 1911s until like this week, and I'm just like, my God, this thing is cheating.
Well,
You know, and
no,
I can't help but wonder if that full size
that's
one
good.
is going to be like extra cheating.
Now, and now let's also say, I just said, I don't know how I feel about dropping, $4,000 on a 1911, but then again, the Brown that you have right now is not exactly an inexpensive gun. Let's do say that.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, a Brown 19. I don't even know. I don't
Uh,
even know. I mean, that's probably everything's gotten more expensive. I have no idea what 1911s sell for anymore. I know that they're retarded expensive.
yes.
And I will say this, and I'm not looking forward to this at all, because if I shoot more 1911s, it's going to bring in a whole crew of retarded 1911 people that want to fucking troll and shit talk. You know what I mean? Like when I switched to the HK gun and I started shooting that gun, we had a bunch of these HK fanboys roll in being obstinate dickheads to everybody. And I had to basically kick all those guys fucking out until,
Yeah.
because they were like, oh, you're one of us. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a fucking shooter. You're a fucking gun forum loser. And, when I start fucking shooting these high-end 1911s, if I do this, a whole crew of them are going to be, it's going to, there's going to be a transition period of me having to delete and ban motherfuckers.
Well, we've gone through cycles like this over the past, 5-6 years, where
Yeah.
we'll make some kind of a change and it draws in the shit bags. I mean, it does. We've dealt with them before and we'll end up dealing with them again. I mean, it's exhausting to deal with it, but we will.
Well, you know what? It's not as exhausting as it used to be because we used to try to talk people off the ledge. And now we're
Yeah,
both jaded and we just delete and ban people.
exactly. There is no more talking off the ledge. I mean, if
Yeah.
on a good day, if I'm feeling it, I might give you a warning. On a bad day, when I'm not feeling it, you're gone.
Yeah. Because,
It's
it's like,
because
if I'm running 1911 and some guy rolls in who's like, and I can actually envision the names of the people. Like, we know the people that comment, our regulars. And, he's like, hey, man, what about the VP9? Or what about this? Or are you going to shoot the VP9? And what'll happen is the fucking new 1911 guy will take that as an opportunity to shit on the VP9 guy. And I will delete and ban that fucking 1911 guy because I just hate these fucking guys.
yes,
The
yeah.
only people worse than, okay, the only people worse than Korth and H&K owners are 1911 fucking guys on the internet.
I
They are
totally
fucking
agree.
terrible.
I totally agree with that. God, they're obnoxious.
Because all they do is they spend money on shit. They overspend. If they convince themselves their gun's special, they're like Corvette owners. Every fucking Corvette is rare. Every fucking Corvette is special. They're making 30,000 of them a year. You paid too much. You're never going to get your money back out of it. But since you put 400 miles on it and not 40,000 miles, you think it's fucking gold brick. And these 1911s are the same way.
Yeah,
These fucking guys, they're terrible.
yeah.
I am not looking forward to that at all.
It won't be that bad. I mean, you'll get a few in that, and we'll whack them, because, if you can't play nice, you can't play here at all.
No,
It's
no.
pretty much, you know.
We don't need 40 comment. We don't need all these people. So we're not, oh, well, look, we have all these comments on the website. Oh, we're so great. I'm like, if they're 30 of them are like dog shit, we'll just ban those people.
Yeah,
Go back to
exactly.
Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. I mean, we don't have time or energy to deal. God, remember the bull crap we went through years ago on the two biker gangs down in Texas that had to shoot out? All
yeah,
the fucking
as
all the
if
fucking
as if you
recreational bikers rolled in. Oh my
Oh
God.
my, yeah, yeah. As if you and I, especially me, don't know how real criminal biker gangs work and make money. Like I know exactly how those fuckers work.
Yeah.
All they do is they deal in fucking dope, stolen guns, and stolen motorcycles and motorcycle parts.
Yep.
That's how they make money.
That's how they generate cash.
Hmm.
Yeah. And man, I'll tell you what, that was a shit show extraordinaire.
Hmm.
But that was also
But
back in the days when we started talking, we were still talking people off the ledge.
yeah, well, yeah, but it was funny that all ended up being adjudicated. All those people, most of those people went to jail.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, we were right.
As a matter of fact, I believe that restaurant closed because they just basically it almost became like they were encouraging these criminal biker gangs to show up. There was something that happened. You know how like a bar can get too many nuisance calls and they yank your liquor license?
Yep.
Basically, that's I think what happened is it basically got to a point is they got tired of you're becoming a haven of criminal activity, and there was some issues there. I can't remember specifically. I believe the national chain even may have yanked that franchise of that
Yeah.
particular location, which to me vindicates the argument that we were making. If the national franchise was like, holy fuck, you know, it's like, well, yeah. Oh, man, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Speaking of forgetting
We,
about stuff, what did you think of the video that I posted last night about the German car that was found in the barn find? And it went
I,
on and on and on.
I got the biggest kick out of that video. I did. I love that video.
At very end of it, at the very end of this video, they talk about like it's in Europe and there's this museum that has these cars, and apparently somebody years ago faked the real car and put it in a museum.
But you know what the crazy thing about it is the car that was faked had pretty good provenance if they would have just kept it original because
Yeah, they only had like 38 of these cars.
well, and the guy who owned the faked car was a pretty bad Nazi dude himself, you know?
Yeah, it's
So
crazy,
it,
but like
it's
some, but let's tell the listener. Hold on, so they understand. But like, what did they fake? They didn't fake badges. What they did is there was this in Europe in this part of this world. There was this really bad Nazi dude that got assassinated. Somebody bombed his car,
yeah,
and he was killed in 42. And what happened is people found a version of this car and they literally faked the bomb damage to the car, one of these rare cars, to say it was this dude's car.
yeah,
I mean, it's crazy. And that's the crazy kind of shit that goes on in the
yeah,
milsurp world.
yeah. Well, then all of a sudden the original car turns up and you know the guy spends like 11 years restoring it and researching it, and it turns out it's like, oh wow, okay, you know what, that car down there is fake, this is the real deal, you know. And
Yeah. And the guy that found the car he's just a Mercedes guy.
yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't like he was in the milsurp game.
no, as a matter of fact, at the end of the video they said that he sold it to a museum,
Yeah.
or probably.
Which again, and that's what got me thinking is we're not going to talk about it on pod, but we will reference it with the fake milsurps. Specifically of multiple museums that have fake stuff because you know where it came from, that they now have in their collection that is being represented as real. And so because it's in a museum, it's
Yep.
it's beyond reproach
From now to the
until it
for
is.
eternity, it is real. And I also know, again, I won't mention any names, but there is a prominent German
Careful.
helmet expert who has written several books. And I do know for a 100% fact that one of the helmets represented in his book is fake.
Yeah, we're going to stop because
You
it'll
know,
be too easy to figure this out. And the thing is, and what I guess the point is, and I'm not speaking for you, but I guess I am. Like, look, here's the thing. These, like, I don't care about these fake helmets and these guns with these fake markings and, all this
mhm.
crazy shit. But, we don't know what the future holds. We don't know how technology is going to change. And just like how now people have handheld FLIR devices and they can look at their walls and see heat coming through, we don't know what's going to happen 10, 20 years from now. If new technology or LiDAR or who knows what, fucking space alien imaging, and they're able to look at some of this stuff and they go, oh my God, this is obviously faked. And it's like, it's big money's invested in this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And people
Huge.
are going to lose. If that ever happens, technology catches up with the fakes. There are some people that will literally go bankrupt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's
there's
insanity.
some of these collectors have the amount of money they've got tied up in this stuff is insane. And, and the thing is, it's amazing how much of this stuff is actually fabricated,
Yeah.
I told you the story about the German visor caps back in the 60s,
Yeah.
I mean, someone brought in the companies in Germany that made these caps. When the war shut down and the war was over, they had warehouses filled with parts. The visors, the cloth, everything was original. Someone brought them into the United States in the 60s and assembled them and sold them as, assembled visor caps from original parts. But you know what? 50 years later or whatever, there's not a single one of those visor caps out there that are assembled from original parts. They're all 100% original at this point. Now you can argue the fact that it's like, well, they are still original, but but the difference between paying $100 and $1,000, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, there was an incident, and we didn't talk about it, and I never followed up on it. But you know who the guy has a YouTube channel, Othias, and a C in Arsenal? You know the guy? You know who he is?
I know who he is.
Okay, so he had done something. He didn't. I don't know specifically what he did, but he started looking into trench shotguns.
Yeah.
And he did a bunch of research and talked to people and got examples and whatever it is he does. Like, you go watch his shit if you want to. I can't explain it.
Yeah.
But he came out and he said, I have discovered that a significant number of these trench shotguns are fake, and I figured out how to tell, and I'm not going to say it yet, but it's going to reset this market. And I remember watching that being like, Freeze was right. Freeze was right. Because it's a difference between spending $400 on a whatever shotgun, cowboy gun, and $2,500 on a real deal trench shotgun that is so rare, trench warfare gun. And it's like, apparently he discovered something in his research by accident, because he's just doing the shit on the guns. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of stuff, sniper rifles and mark this and all that crap. Their ass is hanging in the breeze so bad.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I would hate to fucking be in that business.
Yeah. It's crazy. And again, in our regulars will know, I've said this before, that's why when I buy anything like this, I don't pay much more than repro pricing on it, because if I pay reproduction pricing and it turns out to be fake, then I didn't get burned. If I pay, if it turns out to be real, then hey, bonus for me, pass go, collect $200. But it's like, I won't pay more than reproduction pricing on any of this shit anymore, because it's just, I know too much.
Yep, you've seen too much skullduggery. So,
yep.
I was just kind of like, a thing was a thing. So,
yeah.
All right, was anything else? We've been going for literally 59 minutes. So, anything else we need to discuss before I wrap this one up? Because I'm actually pulling into the range, so I got to get moving. So,
okay.
Anything else that
No,
we need to cover before we toss it out?
yeah, I think we're good.
All right. Well, this wraps up episode 160 of the John 1911 podcast. If you want to see any pictures, stories, or links to stupid, expensive 1911s, go to our website, john1911.com. That's JOHN1911.com. Remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. Everybody, have a good day.
See you later.
Goddamn $4,000 gun. God.